Hi guys, I'm back and today I'm going to be trying something a little bit different, and I thought it'd be nice to show you guys what it's like when I go into a look and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it, where I'm going and how I go about that process. This I thought might give you an insight as to how I figure something out along the way as well. So even though maybe the look isn't necessarily what I would like give to a beginner, I thought it might be an insight into learning how I do something as a thought process. As well as I thought this would be a really cool look to do and I can't get it out of my head. So I have to do it today because otherwise it's just going to fester in my mind. So what I'm planning to do is a Grinch skull. Now, one of the things to note here is that the Grinch, because of the way the Grinch looks, he would not have a typical human skull. So some of the bone structure is going to have to change. Without further ado, I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Let's go. I've been scrolling through on the internet looking at photos of the Grinch and trying to figure out what his anatomy might be like. So I'm kind of basing it off a lot of these photos that you can see here. And then I had a tiny sketch of me just drawing kind of like something similar to my facial shape. So I know I'm gonna have to really accentuate these cheekbones to really get that really like, that really nasty like high smile that he has. And I'm probably gonna try and like bring that round and then mark it up with the anchor points. Anchor points on your face are really important and they help to figure out where you're gonna be doing certain things. So I know that the anchor points on my face are gonna be the sides of my lips. Because of the way that my lip, it comes out very far. You see here, it's not necessarily that noticeable when I look forwards. However, you can see this casted shadow just under here. That shadow is incredibly difficult for me to hide. Also means if I then paint teeth, they'd have to come down a lot further, which is a mistake I commonly make. Because when I'm painting teeth, I often do this. And then when I put my lip back, it's hidden underneath here because of the shadow. So you have to become quite familiar with your own face. As you progress, you'll also start to understand how people can do different things on their faces. And you can analyze different other people's faces to figure out how something's going to be. I also know that the anchor points are going to be the eyes as well, each side of my eye, because these are also parts which I'm not necessarily going to be able to hide. And also these parts of the nose. It's not necessarily like you can take this and put it straight on the face. You have to figure out how you're going to do it to manipulate the features that you already have to make sure that it makes sense. Another thing to note, when they're illusion-based looks, they only work from one angle and in controlled lighting. So we'll start with the cheekbones because they're pretty prominent and will probably be a large feature of the look. So if I'm looking at myself straight on, so that part should be the largest here. Cool. Now let's match that on the other side. I'm just using an eyebrow pencil, by the way, to sketch this out. By the shape of his face, the cheeks would come further out, right? So that means that this would go recede back for coming over the top. And then I'm probably going to wear a Christmas hat, but we'll still, you know, pay attention to this anyway. This is going to look so dumb. Okay. I'm thinking, let's try and make the Grinch look as nasty and gross as possible. We're going to do the skull green, by the way. All right, so he's got a really tiny nose, so that's right. And then I know that I can't hide this line, so we'll build that line in. Okay, so that's going to be like the middle of the teeth, probably the top teeth, I imagine. So then we still have to have the actual teeth and the gums. The actual jaw piece, it would connect the top part of the jaw to the lower part of the jaw, so you could move the teeth. So that would probably be the top tooth there. No? So that makes sense to me. Does that make sense to you? I clear as day. Okay. And if those of you don't know what I'm talking about, if this helps to put some teeth in, I know I necessarily can't hide the eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure all of the eye is in like the socket before I bring it up, because I know I can't necessarily hide that. Okay. And then this leaves me room to do some like wrinkles in the skull area there. Good. We have the sketch. We need to paint this green.
A few moments later.
Now what we need to do next is we need to, obviously, we've kind of gotten rid of some of the lines, but you can faintly see them, which is why I like to do this. And we need to go in and start shading. So now I'm going to go in with a dark green. I'm going to be using, I think Mushy Peas will be dark enough. If not, then I'll go into Artist. And we need to start adding in all the lines, but make sure you do it softly so that it's easy to blend. Side note, if this part's going to be black, when you paint in the black, it's just going to cancel out, which means it's easier to clean up all the lines. So when I'm shading now like this, it doesn't matter if I go over this because that's going to be painted with black later on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with a darker color. I'm going to start to go in with a very small amount of black and really define these edges. And when we blend them out, we're not going to blend them as far down as we did this green. It'll be closer to the edge. Okay, so sketching in the teeth, you want to keep them to be a bit more teardrop shape. I'm going in with a light yellow at first because I just want to kind of get the shape ready. And I'm going in with a brush which is a bit flat and is the kind of width that I want. These brushes were super cheap off Amazon. Like, I use them mostly for my acrylic paints, but it was the perfect size, so I decided to use this one. So you want to draw them in like a teardrop shape. So you want to line them up so that you get two front middle ones. So now I've marked out all the teeth. We're going to do some shading in between them just to make sure that they really kind of pop and stand out, because at the moment we've just kind of sketched them out. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be shading in between each one. There'll be a lot more definition time. So I'm going to go in with some darker shades. We'll mark them all out. Okay, then I like to take a light grey to medium grey eyeshadow and I just like to bring it over these teeth at the back because it kind of pushes those further back than the front teeth. You see what I mean? Like it kind of like pushes them back. So let's go in with a black body paint now and mark out these sides. Okay, so now we can add in extra highlighting and shading. This is too much of a sharp edge for me. I don't like it. So I'm going to be using a black eyeshadow to bring that in. Now to deepen any shading that you've done prior that you're like, I could probably be a little bit deeper, I could probably be a little bit better. Okay, now I'm also going to go in with a white mixed with a light yellow and we're going to add some highlights. Because whenever we shade, it's really important that you also highlight. I don't recommend you just do one. And as he's the Grinch, I kind of imagine he'd probably have a normal kind of spine and neck. I guess we should make it quite thin. We could be inspired by the animated version of him. Paint that green. We also don't forget to paint the ears black because we really sell the illusion. The only hat I have has Mickey Mouse ears, okay? But it's fine because we're going to be against a black background, so don't worry about it. Okay, now I don't have a Santa costume, so we're having to improvise. Found my mum's red cardigan and my mum's white scarf. Don't tell her. You're the mean one, Mr. Grinch. And that's it for today, guys. I hope this has helped you in some way. I kind of wanted to show how I would figure something out. But if anything, I thought it would be a good way to show you how I would create a look from kind of like start to finish, the idea, the concept, once I've thought of something in my head. Sometimes ideas just pop in my head and then I'm like, oh, I want to go do that, which I don't know how to teach or explain. As for everything else, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to do the things. Thank you so much for doing all those things. They're very helpful for me as well. Furthermore, you can also follow me on my other social media channels. I post different things in different places, so I do recommend following me in different places as well. Thank you so much. You're all so wonderful. If you ever have any more suggestions for things that you would like to see, especially coming up for Christmas, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments below. Let me know. And in the meantime, bah humbug.